Welcome
Is
to
she
the
going with
Marcus
you?
and Mike Show, guys, where we pack Mountain Dew in our hydration packs when we go hiking. I hope everybody enjoyed a little bit of preseason football, the Hall of Fame game, Broncos versus the Atlanta Falcons. Broncos won that game. It doesn't really matter. Drew Lock kind of sucked. It doesn't really matter. But
Yeah.
to talk about this a little bit more, I got to bring in my man, Marcus. How is your day going so far, man? Beautiful Monday afternoon.
Pretty good. It's been like 7 months or whatever. I don't know how long it's been since I watched football. I didn't watch any of the football, man. I was down under, but yeah, I just saw a little bit of the highlights and it didn't look very watchable. But and I watch any football,
Yeah.
but and that was Drew Lock's first performance. So I mean, I'm not gonna go too hard on him, but the game was really not. I mean, preseason football is wow.
Yeah.
I'd rather watch two Division II teams go at it in college football, like hardcore, like that it meant something, than
Right.
watch that.
Yeah, and if you guys are looking for some type of competitive sports to watch, I was watching the TBT basketball tournament a little bit. Um, that's kind of special because these are normal guys such as yourself and I. Make them 10,
Well,
15 dollars an hour playing for $2 million. So you see passion
yeah,
like out on the court, and that's pretty fun to watch.
right.
Also, Big Brother. So if you guys like Big Brother,
Oh, okay.
that's mine and my wife's weakness is Big Brother. We're
I watch Power. I watch this show called Power that's coming on to his last season. I'm not a show person.
yeah,
I really didn't. I mean, I that Power was the first show I watched since I mean, God, the Bundys or something. Like it's been bad.
right.
And then I'm watching this show called Euphoria right now. It's on HBO, and
Haven't
that's
heard of
pretty
that one.
intense. Yeah, it's pretty intense. So, man, I'm just now getting back into shows a little bit. I'm really not. I'm more of a movie and sports person.
Yeah,
I watch
this
great. I'm a movie fanatic. Like I know almost as much about movies as sports. So yeah, I mean,
yeah this summer I was really into grain into TV shows but football for me officially starts today, and I couldn't be much more excited about it.
right.
So let's just continue of what we've been doing the last couple weeks here, Marcus, and breaking down NFL games, how we think teams are going to do throughout the season. And today,
Yeah.
let's stay in that same conference that we've been doing the last few shows here, and let's just stick with the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
Cam Newton is coming off that shoulder surgery that you've alluded to a couple of shows ago
Yeah.
when we were breaking down the Atlanta Falcons.
Right.
He's put in a new throwing motion.
Yeah.
Christian
Right.
McCaffrey is coming into his second year. He's looking big and strong and fast. So let's just break down these Carolina Panthers. Week 1, they're at home taking on the LA Rams. Who do you got in this one?
And I love you mentioned the guy. I love Christian McCaffrey. I
Yes.
really do. I mean, there's some people that don't like him. They're not in love with him or whatever. Okay, that's fine. He and Alvin Kamara are the two best at rushing and receiving. They've had the most yards in the past 2 years out of the backfield, rushing and receiving. Zeke's had the most rushing, right?
Right.
But if you combine rushing and receiving, it's Alvin Kamara and Christian McCaffrey. And Christian McCaffrey, I don't know. Have you seen pictures of him lately? He got yoked.
Yeah.
He gained like another 15 pounds of muscle.
Yeah. He was doing a interview with the Panthers TV show or some of that. His arms looked about as big as my
Yeah.
thighs were. It's crazy how much
And it's funny
bigger he's gotten.
it's funny because what is he like 5'10" or 5'11" or
Yeah,
something, or
he's
6
pretty
feet maybe
short.
at the
Yeah.
most?
Yeah.
Yeah, his father's 6'5", so that's what's and his father, is a former NFL wide receiver, so I
Right.
guess he took more of the mom side. And I guess his younger brother, who's battling for the starting quarterback with Shea Patterson there at Michigan,
Uh-huh.
he's like a little taller. So, anyways, that's just how the genes work. I love Christian McCaffrey.
Right.
It's hard to do this Carolina schedule when I haven't seen Cam Newton. If he throws like last year,
Yeah.
I mean, we're looking at 6-10.
Right.
But if he goes back to, and I've never been in love with Cam Newton, his completion percentage just kills me. Okay, but at least I know he's a good enough quarterback to get you. He's had a couple of really good seasons, but the rest of it's been poor. Okay, but at least I know if the Cam Newton returns back to his couple of years ago form, they're a 10-6 team, 11-5 team maybe they could be.
Right.
But man, I really want to see how his throwing motion and how he throws almost before I can even make an assessment. But we are not afforded that luxury today, so I'll go ahead and go with my schedule here with a decent Cam Newton, a good Cam Newton, and I'll go ahead and give them. They'll beat the Rams week 1, and I'm actually surprised this isn't a primetime game.
Yeah. I think it's not a primetime game because of what the Panthers did last season.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
weren't a very good team last season.
right,
Not very much must see TV.
right,
And and with Cam Newton coming off his injury, they don't know where they're
right,
going to be at. Just every reserve that you just mentioned, TV people are having the same thoughts
right.
too. But just to add to your point here, Carolina Panthers fans, take this into perspective. Jake Delhomme has done more with the Panthers organization than Cam Newton has, as far as wins, winning season, and playoff appearances. So just take that into
Uh,
account.
Well, I mean, Jake Delhomme's just a better pure passer, better pure quarterback, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah,
I know Jake Delhomme. I don't have to look at the stats and tell you Jake Delhomme is more accurate than Cam Newton.
yeah.
So, anyways, yeah,
But people were always so hard like, oh, can't Panama Cats haven't had had like anybody, whatever. But I have the LA Rams winning Week 1. I think the Rams are just a little bit more polished than the Chargers are, and
yeah.
they're built to win now. And if they don't win now, they might be hurting. So
It's
week,
just I want to agree with you, but it's just something about those week ones. It's like
yeah,
opening day baseball kind of. It's
hmm
like opening night in the NBA. You'll see like Sacramento beat, you know,
Golden State, yeah,
yeah, you'll see because it's game one. The
right,
crowd's into it. It's the first game of the year, and then man, that Carolina crowd's gonna be. I mean, this is gonna be. Like it's almost like you can't lose week one. Like you know
right.
what I mean. But I mean they could lose week. That's why I'm gonna take Carolina week one. And you got Rams, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I hear what you're saying 100%. Opening day, opening game,
Yeah.
whatever. Everybody has their Super Bowl is still a reality right now. Sorry about that.
Mhm.
So week 2 they have Tampa Bay. We have them both beating Tampa Bay in
Yeah.
week 2 all already here. Week 3 traveling to Arizona. Who do you got?
I don't know if we picked the Cardinal schedule yet, but I'm gonna go ahead and take Arizona in this one
Taking
at
Arizona.
home. Yeah.
Yeah, I am taking the Panthers in this one because I just don't like a rookie head coach and a rookie quarterback in the same year. We saw
I
this
got you.
last year with the Cardinals. They weren't very good with a rookie coach and a rookie head and a rookie quarterback as well. I think they're going
And,
to be the
and-
same boat.
right. And Arizona's weakness is their secondary. It's bad, but I don't think Cam Newton's gonna take advantage of that. It's gonna be a lot of dinks and dunks to McCaffrey, a lot of power running game,
Hmm.
and then then they might lull you to sleep and Cam hit Samuel deep or something like that. But yeah, I mean
Right.
it's not going to be a very deep passing game. So Arizona's kind of out of the woods there. DJ Swearinger could probably come up and play the run a lot there in this game for Arizona.
And I believe this is Arizona's first home game too. So
Yeah.
just keep that in mind as well. Week 4 they are back on the road, take on the Houston Texans, the loudest stadium in the NFL. Who do you got?
One of the loudest. I'm telling you right now, their quarterbacks. I've been there many times. They cannot hear when the Houston crowd's going. You cannot hear in there. I
Right.
can't even hear myself. It's that crazy. I got Houston winning this one. That's just. I think Houston gets them pretty bad this one. I mean, yeah,
Yeah,
JJ Watt and boys.
I have Houston winning this game as well. Houston is in a slug fest division, and they have to get any easy wins they can get. And I think Carolina is quote unquote a easy win, a must easy win per se. Week 5, they're back at home, take on Jacksonville Jaguars.
They'll bounce back and get this one. I think they'll beat Jacksonville.
Yeah, I have them beating Jacksonville as well, just because I don't know who Jacksonville is. Are they going to be the Jacksonville for 2 years ago or this last year Jacksonville?
I
So
I think Jacksonville's going to be closer to the one 2 years ago, but that doesn't mean they're going to make the AFC Championship game.
right.
Right.
So the next week they're at Tampa Bay. I have them beating Tampa Bay. You have them losing to Tampa Bay, giving us a week 7 bye week. Coming off the bye week in week 8, it looks like they're traveling to San Francisco to take on the 49ers. Who do you got?
Man, that's tough. I'll take the 49ers even off a bye week. Usually teams are better off their bye weeks, no
Right.
matter if they're traveling on the road or not. You're just more refreshed. But I'll still go ahead and take San Francisco.
Yeah, I'm taking San Francisco as well, simply because, just like I just said earlier, I don't know who the San Francisco 49ers are. You are pretty high on the 49ers. Other people are pretty high on the 49ers. So I think them at home, they
Yeah.
they got to snub
Well,
Carolina in the butt.
I like what John Lynch is doing there at San Francisco. I like personnel a little bit. I like the drafts. And I'm gonna tell you right now, Jimmy Garoppolo he's the closest thing that reminds me of Tony Romo.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo could be that type of player. So yeah, they might have hit a jackpot with Jimmy. I mean, he has potential to be Tony Romo. That's not. I don't know if he's going to be, but it's
Right.
there.
There is a reason why the Patriots were trying to hang on to this guy, given
Yeah.
unrealistic expectations for like a sign and trade type of
Right.
thing. Because Bill Belichick knows how to recruit players, how to build
Right.
players, and so I mean, hopefully
Yeah.
he's the real deal for 49ers' sake. Week 9, they're at home taking on Tennessee Titans.
They'll bounce back and they'll beat Tennessee.
Yeah, I had them beating Tennessee as well. I just don't think Tennessee is as good as a lot of people are going to think there are. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they answered their quarterback issue when Marcus Mariota he gets
Yeah.
hurt, which he always seems to get hurt around this
Yeah.
time of year. So that's why I'm kind of going with Carolina in that like in this one. Week
Yeah.
10, but
Tennessee's the worst team in the AFC South, and they're like an 8-8 team.
yeah,
So that's why that's a pretty damn good division.
very
So
good
go ahead.
division.
Yeah.
Probably the best division that we're covering next. So week 10, they're traveling to Lambeau Field to take on the Packers. Who you got?
Man, they're not going into Lambeau and winning. Aaron Rodgers. I see Green Bay winning this game.
Yeah, I was actually kind of going back and forth on this game a little bit. I really haven't looked too much at the Green Bay schedule yet. But if the Packers are below 500 going into this game,
Yeah.
I could see Carolina going into Lambeau and beating them because there'd be no trust in Aaron Rodgers and the head coach. So Aaron Rodgers will kind of be doing his own thing. There'd be splitting a divide in the locker room. But I think Green Bay is going to be pretty good. And I have them winning this game. Week 11, we have them both beating Atlanta Falcons at home.
Yeah.
Week 12, taking on the New Orleans Saints at New Orleans.
These are always highly competitive games. It could go either way, but I gotta go with New Orleans Saints at home. Marcus Davenport, San Antonio's own Marcus Davenport, will sack Cam Newton a couple of times and they'll get the win.
Yeah, I always got to go with the home team. I like the Saints at home, just because they're the home team. That crowd's crazy. Week 13, we both have them beating Washington. Week 14, we have them both losing to Atlanta at Atlanta, giving us a Week 15 matchup take on the Seattle Seahawks at home.
Well, how many wins do I have them at?
It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 right now going into Week 15.
Yeah, they're fighting for their playoff lives here. They'll beat Seattle.
Yeah, I had them beating Seattle as well. I was kind of in the same boat as you are, battling for that wild card spot because I think we both think that New Orleans is going to take that division. So fighting for that wild card spot. Given a Week 16 matchup, take on the Indianapolis Colts at Indy.
Wow, this one's a tough one. Wow. You know what? I'm gonna have them winning their final 3 games and going 9. I'll have them beating Indianapolis in this one.
Yeah, I'm on the exact opposite side coin of that. I have Indianapolis winning at home because of what we alluded to earlier. That AFC South is a tough division. They have to get every non-conference win or non-division win that like they can get to project them into a better wild card seed. So I got the Colts winning that one. Give us a Week 17 matchup. Take on the New Orleans Saints. I believe you alluded to that. You're picking that one as a win.
Yeah, and this one is one of those ones where they're going to go into the final game of the regular season, and they're still going to be in for that 6th seed, and they're going to need certain teams to lose, certain teams to win, and they're going to have to beat the Saints, regardless of any scenario. And so they'll go 9-7, and whether or not, tiebreaker situations or all that, they might be out of the playoffs, even if they win their final 3, like I have them predicted. But they might. That final 3 might have gotten them in. They might be the 6th seed at 9-7.
Yeah, I had them beating the Saints as well because I do believe that they'll be battling for a playoff spot like at that point, and the Saints will have that 2 or 3 seed locked up, and they can't move up and they can't move down, so they're kind of in cruise control, and they could care less if the Panthers make it or not because they beat them earlier in the year and they know that they can beat them in the playoffs. And I had them going 9-7 as well.
I hope that New Orleans isn't in cruise control. Like I hope that You know, like in other words, that means they'll have the number one seed wrapped up. I'm hoping Dallas will be challenging them. Maybe we'll need Carolina to beat New Orleans or something, maybe to get a number one seed or something like that. It'll be really intriguing. It's usually really the NFL has this set up really well, man. It's usually intriguing at the end of the year. You plug in that playoff machine the last 3 or 4 weeks of the year. That's my favorite time of the year because then you see like who gets in the playoffs at different scenarios and stuff like that. Man, I love that stuff. And so you might be looking at a situation, where New Orleans might have to win to stave off the Cowboys. You know what I mean? So
Right.
that'll be fun to watch.
Well, what I'm kind of hoping is that the Cowboys have the one seed locked up 100% going into the last into the last 2 weeks, so like they can kind of get in cruise in a cruise control type of thing, and then the
Right.
Saints can't like they can't move up or they can't move
Right.
down. So like
What?
that's why I think they'll be in cruise control.
So I have them at 9-7. What did you end up having them at?
9-7 as well.
Oh, 9-7.
Yep.
You know what's funny is that's exactly, to be honest, everybody. I know a lot of people that love Cam Newton, and I've
Mm-hmm.
told you before. I've battled people on Facebook and other places that they think Cam Newton is like this god and unbelievable player, and I mean, and I'm like, and then like we'd have battles of who would you rather have, Cam Newton or Andrew Luck, and
Right.
everybody tells me, a lot of people you'd be amazed, tell me Cam Newton. I'm like, what are y'all smoking? I know Andrew Luck has been out. Man, to play the quarterback position, you want Andrew Luck. He's the better player. Like there's no, and then you look at Cam Newton's record, and we talked about this too, maybe a couple weeks ago. Not in depth, but Cam Newton's been like an 8-8, 9-7. That's his average. He's 68-53-1 as a starter. He's a 9-7 quarterback. That's what he is, and that's exactly what we have him going this year.
Yeah.
He is a 9-7 quarterback. People like to crap on Tony Romo. Tony Romo ended his career at 78-49, 29 games above 500. Romo is like a 10-6 quarterback. You'd be amazed how many people I meet go, oh man, he's an 8-8 quarterback, dude. he averaged 10-6 throughout his career. Romo's like almost 30 games above 500. Cam Newton's 15 games. So yeah, Cam Newton's a 9-7 quarterback, and that's exactly what we have him doing his average this year.
Right. Yeah, and just to add to your point there, I mean, people think he's so elite. It's because
Right.
he's only had 3 winning seasons in his 9-year career so
Yeah.
far. So those years that he was above 500 those 3 times, he had to have been 11-5, 12-4 to bump those numbers up a little bit more.
Yeah.
If you take out those 3 seasons, he's probably a 400 quarterback, meaning
Oh,
like
yeah, no.
mean like he's he's
Yeah.
7-8 or something like that.
No, he's worse than if you take it.
Right.
I mean, I don't want to take out those 3 seasons,
Well,
but like if you took those out,
yeah,
he's worse than 400 then.
Yeah.
He's way down.
I mean, and like
Yeah.
he has had one MVP year, yes,
Right.
like you cannot take that away from him whatsoever. But since that one MVP year, he has not done anything. Like
Right.
they haven't.
No,
won
I got you.
yeah, I mean, it just,
And then there's people that clown on him about the Super Bowl. Warren Sapp says he's a quitter. I mean, listen, sometimes you listen to Warren Sapp and go, okay, but there's a lot of guys like that, like a Warren Sapp and Charles Barkley. Sometimes they say things that are true. You know what I mean? They mix in, and the reason Warren Sapp said that is because I don't know if you remember the play when Cam Newton fumbled the ball in the Super Bowl, he didn't look like he had a great urgency to go get it.
right.
And so Warren Sapp kills him for that to this day. So, I mean, hey, say what you want, but and also I've told you this before, his completion percentage is at 59% for his career. Eli Manning's was at 59% for a long time until Ben McAdoo came in
Right.
and made the offense friendly and got Eli's career percentage up a little bit above 60%, which is amazing for these two guys that everybody thinks are great and going to go to the Hall of Fame. In this day and age where they're giving you completions. Matter of fact, Sam Bradford led the NFL with like 70%. Think about that for a second. And Cam Newton and Eli Manning can't throw over 60% completion. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's terrible. They're terrible.
Yeah.
I'm just going to flat out say it. I mean, it's terrible. And so, yeah, Eli's barely gotten above it this year or the past couple of years. Otherwise, he was right at 59 where Cam Newton was. I mean, I just find that hard to believe. Now, you look at some of the old stats and Dan Fouts and some of the greats, it was harder to complete back then. They'll be at 59%. But if Dan Fouts played in this era, or Troy Aikman, And they could throw these little short passes. And Dan Fouts was vertical. Eric Coryell Traegman was vertical. This Eric Coryell offense. They would have a great completion percentage. But yeah, Cam Newton, I think he's a good football player. I think he's a good quarterback. Don't get me wrong. Now, people think I'm saying he's terrible. He's not. He's a good quarterback.
Not saying he's terrible, but I would not want him to start at my team. I would
No,
take
I would.
Andrew Luck or
Yeah, I mean, no way. I mean, Andy Dalton, you know, if they were both 22 years old, I might take Cam because of the physicality and
right.
Cam can run. But man, Andy Dalton might be a better pocket passer than Cam, and he might be. I mean, and Andy Dalton is an average quarterback, so
he is.
And then also Cam Newton and his followers, but he's got a lot of them. They always complain about him getting hit. But man, soon as he starts to run, people don't understand this. I've had battles with people on Facebook as well. Soon as he starts to run, he becomes a quarterback, so you can knock him out then.
Yeah.
He's not a pocket pass. They complain that he gets hit. He gets hit more, and the flag doesn't come out more often than other quarterbacks, right? But then he becomes a runner. So then now the safety can come up and drill him. So he's not in the pocket anymore.
So I do have to agree with that a little bit there. Like, so let's just take a quarterback that just signed a 2-year, $23 million deal, Tom Brady,
right.
and Cam Newton. If they both were to roll out of the pocket to the right, scamper for five or six yards, and take the same hit, say it is at the shoulders or like right in the chest, and it's a vicious and aggressive hit. 9 times out of 10, if you hit Tom Brady, you will get a personal foul flag on that. But if you do not hit, but I would say 6 out of 10 times, Cam Newton will get the flag. Like, I'm not saying it is kind of like the LeBron James effect. He is so much bigger and so much stronger than Tom Brady that the hits don't look as vicious as like it does against Tom Brady. So I mean I do kind of see that point in some fans but at the same time he doesn't get down either. He doesn't give himself up. He becomes an actual ball runner and athlete because he knows he can put on some juke moves and get into the end zone.
Right. Well, if you compare it to Tom Brady, then I see your point because that pisses me off too. Like, yeah, I mean, I'll never forget Tom Brady. Ray Lewis, thought he was a bitch basically because Tom Brady goes back to pass and Ray Lewis dived at his feet. He missed him, and Tom Brady wanted a call. Said nobody touched you, and Ray Lewis was like, "Dude, I didn't touch you." Like Tom Brady wanted a call for intent.
Right.
But you know what? That's why I'm glad there's a challenge flag now. I think they can use it on this. The ref should not call that on Brady either. Like, dude, like in other words, if he becomes a runner, he gets hit like a running back. So if I was a coach, man, that's got to be a reviewable play. And if I'm the head ref, I've got to tell those refs in the headset, I've got, what are you guys looking at? Tom Brady's a runner. He can get his ass kicked. Just like anybody else. He got hit good. He's a running back now. Because once you leave out that pocket, and then the defender, they don't get credit for that sack anymore. It's a tackle for loss.
Right.
Because he's not a quarterback anymore. And that's Jadeveon Clowney always, he doesn't get the sacks, but man, Jadeveon Clowney's always first or second in the NFL in tackles for loss.
Right.
He's good at that.
You're 100%
so that's probably one. Yeah. So you're right though. And when you compare that to Brady probably will get that call more than Cam, and that's terrible.
Well, that's why. Okay, so let's just take Tom Brady out of the equation, and let's put somebody up, like equal size and weight. Let's say Ben Roethlisberger for the Steelers. I think Ben Roethlisberger would get flags more often than Cam Newton, just as well. Mainly just because I think he pouts a lot. So like he's like, oh come on, why didn't you throw the flag? So I mean, like, people can call it what you want. You can call it, a football player being a football player, a quarterback being a whiny little punk, but like
Yeah.
NFL referees, especially for the
Yeah.
quarterback level, I really think they take into accountability. Like, oh,
Yeah.
you've been in the league for
Right.
20 years. You've won a couple Super Bowls. I mean,
Yeah.
if if Cam Newton wants those calls, when like
Yeah.
when a little bit more, and maybe you'll get some calls. But
Right.
I don't know.
Well, that's not fair either. I mean, even if you're Jimmy Garoppolo and you know what I mean, you should get the call if you get hit. I mean, in other words, if it's roughing the passer, it's roughing the passer, whatever. But I've never been the one. I mean, I've never played quarterback, but I'm the type of person, man. I don't complain. Like I wouldn't, the quarterback gets up and complains, like you were talking about.
Yeah,
Man, I'm not a complainer like that. Like I would leave that for my teammates to complain for me. My coaching staff would have to come and complain for me.
right.
Like I would just get up and go, damn. Like I wouldn't. I'm not the type of person that sits there and goes, see what he did to me.
Yeah.
I'm just not wired that way. But yeah,
I actually played with some guys at Kansas State. Like they would go over the middle and they would get lit up, and they would
yeah,
complain every time that they got hit too hard. I'm like, it's football. Like that's my job
yeah,
is to hit you hard. Get out of
right,
here. But
yeah,
I want to bring up something that me and my dad talked about while like he was in town this weekend. Shout out to my dad. Hopefully he's having a safe trip down into Florida there. But the pass interference call. You can now review pass interference calls. First of all, what are your thoughts on that right off the bat?
I like it. I think you should be able to review pass interference calls because those are so the players are going so fast and the official might have seen a hand or it may not have been as egregious and all that. I mean, yeah, I think that's okay to. I like it
Well,
because
can they
too many
take away
times
a
that
pass interference call, or can they only issue a pass interference call?
what's that?
I don't think they can take away a pass interference call. So if I hand check you in that 5 yard area and they throw a flag, I don't think they can pick that flag up. They can only issue a flag if they see it.
Oh no, well then see, I don't like that. I like it, even if they throw a flag. Because listen, the pass interference call determines too many games now. I can just chunk it, and if a guy looks like he might have held, or it could be an incidental contact, and then they'll throw the flag, and the next thing you know, that team's kicking the game-winning field goal because they got that cheap pass interference call. I don't like that. I think you should be able to review that stuff. I
Well,
mean,
if it's accidental contact, it's contact either way. If you are touching me while the ball is in the air and I'm past the 5 yards, pass interference is pass interference. I don't care if it's accidental
yeah,
or la.
no, like incidental contact, like where they're both kind of like pushing at each other and all that, and the
So
receiver
like their
pushes on.
feet get tied up or something.
Yeah,
Okay.
or something like that. I mean, man, these games are too big. Billions of dollars are at stake. Playoffs, people's jobs are on the line for pass interference not to be reviewed. I kind of like it, and I don't like, and I really don't. To be honest, I like, and there's very few college rules that I like.
Hmm.
I like all there's some college rules that are just like if the quarterback goes with a knee with the ground, the play's over. That is stupid as hell. That's the dumbest thing. Oh, 1 foot inbounds, right? So I can catch. You can't even get away with that, Michael. You can't get away with that in high school. So in college, when you get the stakes get higher and it's a bigger competition, I can only have 1 foot inbounds. Does that make sense? That's stupid.
Yeah, I don't know.
It makes no sense.
All right.
So in high school, you can have 2 feet. NFL, you can have two, but college, they're gonna give you 1 feet. It's retarded. So but one college rule that I do like is you only get 15 yards for pass interference.
Yes, I like that.
Because what happens is when you throw the 50-yard flag and it was a bomb, you're assuming that the guy and you get the ball right up there to kick the game-winning field goal. You're assuming the guy would have caught it, and I can't assume the catch.
Right.
So I'm gonna give you 15 yards, and then we just go from there. So, anyways, that's just one of my. But then there's some college rules that are just I can't think of them all right now. But that when the quarterback, like say he doesn't get contacted and he goes down to one knee, slips, or the receiver slips down and he can't roll in the end zone. Can you imagine a NCAA championship on that where the guy's wide open, right?
Right.
And the quarterback, you say, oh, the quarterback should have made a better throw. You know what? Bullshit. The quarterback's under duress. He chunks it to the receiver. The receiver catches it, right? And he had to dive for it, and there's nobody around him. The play's dead right there at the 3 yard line.
Yep.
The championship game's over. He can't get up and walk in the end zone. Is that the stupidest thing you've ever seen?
Yeah, but
I've actually seen.
yeah.
I've actually seen Texas lose a game where it was a 2-point
I was
conversion,
getting ready to talk to you about that, yo.
and then there was the running back rolled out and he caught it and he lunged for the, like, he kind of slipped catching it and he kind of like lunged for the end zone a little bit and he was like a half a yard short. He could have just like crawled and walked in the end zone because there was nobody around him. It was such a good play. And they fooled the defense.
Right.
No, plays dead there at the half yard line. That's so dumb to me. Nobody touched him. So what you're saying in the college rules, the guy can't slip.
Yeah.
But in the NFL, you can't roll in the end zone. You can't slip. And then, like, you know what I mean? It's just so dumb to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I can kind of see your point. Yeah, I mean, like the whole knee touching the ground, like just like without being touched. Yeah, that seems kind of dumb. Especially, let's say you're playing in mud and you run and you just slip. I mean, so like, yeah, I get that 100%.
Can you imagine? There's been some great NFL plays where the quarterback gets it. Yeah, he slips in the grass and mud. He goes to one knee. His knee barely touches, right? But he gets up, recovers, and throws a strike touchdown. Game over. In college, that wouldn't even have happened.
Yeah, it's just
that's dumb.
Yeah, that is dumb. I have to agree with you there 100%. I think the college game is like flawed anyways. Like they review every play, every score. It takes forever. To be honest, I think this is the one thing positive about the NFL is like they have everything nailed down. I mean, like a game is going to take you about 2.5 hours. I think the last college game I was at, we were there for 4.5 hours. Like the kickoff was like at 11. We got out of the stadium at like 4:45. It was ridiculous. So, yeah, I have to agree with you on that 100%. But going back to the pass interference thing, just a little bit there. My question is can they review? So say the pass goes to the right, can they review a pass interference call on the left? Like, hey, this guy was holding him. Like can they throw that flag? Like,
I thought it was only if the flag was thrown.
Okay.
Then we can reverse it or non-reverse that. I don't think they can go back and look at because you could go back and look at holdings and all.
Right.
No, we'll be there 5 hours on that one. So yeah, so I think it's only if the flag is thrown if it's going to be picked up or not.
Okay.
So
that makes a little bit more sense. So this tells me that this would not change the outcome of the Saints game. Like the Saints Rams.
Well, I think I take that back. I mean, that's how I would do it. I think they are going to review where the ball was thrown, though. I think you can't you just can't review like the other side or like holding. Yeah.
Right.
So no, I think you can review that now where the ball was thrown. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just like everything, it is going to take time to like adjust. Like when the replay first came into like effect, there was growing pains in it. I actually hated it, and like now I kind of enjoy it. But I also like the human error factor just as well. Just like if because Major League Baseball is talking about going to a computerized strike zone, and a computer will tell you if it's a strike or like a ball. I'm not a big fan of that. I like the human error element in sports just a tad bit.
See, I like the umpires and all that. I like them, but I would like a computerized strike zone or something like that where I know it's a strike. There's nobody in the post game can say, hey man, that umpire, he messed us up, man. That he gave us a terrible strike zone. I'll never forget the 1997 NLCS. Okay. It was the Atlanta Braves against the Florida Marlins, and the Florida Marlins ended up beating the very heavily favored Atlanta Braves. And the strike zone for that umpire was horrific. I mean, Chipper Jones and I remember Fred McGriff and those guys were laughing like it was like a foot outside, and he said strike. No, if you go back and look at it, Levon Hernandez was the pitcher for the Marlins, and it was almost like they may as well have. The commissioner of baseball, Bud Selig or somebody, may as well have come up and said, "Hey, man, get Wayne Huizinga's Florida Marlins in the World Series, man. We've seen enough of the Atlanta Braves." Okay, bye. It was that bad. I mean, Fred McGriff, I remember it was a famous thing where he it was like a foot outside and he like kind of lunged for it. He went, what? Like he lunged with the bat. Like there's no way that's it. And yeah, so the Atlanta Braves, Levon Hernandez um, beat the Atlanta Braves that day. And it was terrible. I mean, you can go back and YouTube it or something. I haven't done it, but anyway, so I kind of like the computer thing. Like, I don't know. You say you like the other way. I don't want any stone unturned. Like, oh man, he called a bad game, or I don't want no excuses. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but that being said, they do a good job.
Yes.
This is very rare.
Right.
Okay. They're not bad. They're not bad umps. Like they're not the balls and strikes things. Yeah, you can argue that
they are professionals. They get paid. They get paid a lot of. They get paid a lot of money to call balls and strikes.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
So, but yeah, I just wanted to touch on that a little bit before we ended the show for today. Join us tomorrow, guys. We're going to break down New Orleans Saints, possibly MVP. Is Drew Brees going to win an MVP? We touched on MVP a little bit last show, so if you guys are curious to what Marcus's top 5 was, go ahead and check that last show out. But any closing thoughts before we head out, Marcus?
No, just man, ready to get football started. There's games every week. I'll start paying. I didn't pay attention to the Hall of Fame game because I was out, but I'll start paying more attention. Like this weekend, I'm gonna watch football.
Yep,
like,
it starts August 8th, Thursday. There's 3 or 4 games
absolutely.
happening. So
yeah, and I complain a lot about preseason football. It is boring, but I'm a college football junkie too. So a lot of these kids a lot of this NFL that we're talking about is boring. We're some of the best in college football. So we've all watched these players play. So it's still fun to watch.
Yeah, and it's just exciting to see the pads pop. So, guys, that's going to be it for today. Join us tomorrow, same time, same location. Like, comment, subscribe, share with a couple friends. Have a good day.